So, babe.
Yo.
I have something to tell you.
You bet. You know how this happened last time you surprised me. What?
Let just hold on a second.
Have we?
If you've tuned in to see if you can argue with your spouse and still be madly in love, you're in the right spot.
I'm Kent.
And I'm Annie.
And we're the Kilkos. Sound like a game show.
We're your host of Life's Little Arguments. We're not trained experts in love and marriage. Actually, we might be quite dysfunctional, but we have been happily married for 16 years.
Debatable.
Not only will we share all the ups and downs of marriage, but the ins and outs of raising his and her kids, growing through new jobs and opportunities, and our latest obsession, our empty nest babies, our dogs, Blakely and Lincoln.
So if you hear ding, ding, ding across the microphone, they're probably walking across the floor.
Listen in each week while we discuss our life, current events, random TikToks, and the little arguments that undoubtedly come up. Whether you're in a long-term relationship yourself or in a fresh new relationship, we hope you find our podcast fun, entertaining, and helps you realize there is a normal in life's little arguments.
Get to the end to make me wait. Like, you better come out soon.
No, I think we probably should start with it for the most part. Hey guys. Hope you are having a fantastic week. I don't know what. I have a cover over top of me because I've got these very short shorts on and I feel like they were showing all of my hoochie. So I don't know.
Let's not, we're not doing that kind of live.
Wait, it might get better views. We might need to try. I also have my glass of, it's not champagne, I have learned. It is sparkling wine because it can only be called champagne if it actually comes from
the grapes in France.
Mm-hmm, yeah. From what is the word I'm looking for? Not location. The area in France. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Know.
Anyway, this is the bottle of champagne that Lauren, we got for her 21st birthday that we never opened once we got back home.
Which is like 3 weeks ago.
Life and busy and whatever. Yeah. So, she finally wanted to pop it tonight. So I helped her, walked her through how you pop a bottle of champagne without, this is not a party. We're not spraying it. So, just taking the cork out.
You told her the sophisticated way of doing it.
Well, because the champagne, this bottle has the little wire, wire thing that goes over top of the cork. And she's like, how do I take this off? I'm like, you're going to figure this out. I'm not telling you, you're going to have to figure this out. Yeah. So she figures it out and she's then trying to get the cork off. And so I loosened up a little for her and then she finally pops the cork. And I was like, there you go. You've popped your first bottle of sparkling wine, I suppose, or champagne or whatever. So anyway, I'm drinking it. And then
Let me ask you a question.
I pour her a glass.
I could be doing it right now.
Huh?
If I can still pay attention, I want to look at my car. I want to see how these pictures are turning out.
No, you cannot.
I swear I'll pay attention.
No, absolutely no. So I had one champagne flute. I've none. I've gotten rid of everything. So I had one champagne flute. So I pour her a glass. Do you hear him? What is he doing?
Yeah, they're back there trying to dig. I don't know what they're doing.
And so she's like, okay. She tastes it. She's like, okay. And I was like, oh, okay. It's that's it. It's just okay. She's like, it's okay. She's like, I didn't think you were going to pour a whole glass. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, I thought you were just going to pour a taste so I can taste it. And then I could get a whole glass. I'm like, this is not a wine tasting. No, you don't just get a little sippy sip to taste and then you get a whole glass. No, we're pouring you a whole glass. So anyway.
I mean, honestly, how cool is that?
Jason says, I popped it last night. Oh, sorry. You're talking about cork.
Look, I mean, literally, I'm sitting here taking pictures from my glass.
Fantastic. I'm so glad that you figured that out.
I love these things.
For those of you on the podcast, he is wearing his Meta glasses. Yeah. He's very impressed with
Worth every penny so far.
Those glasses. Makes lots of videos with those. So they are worth it. In hindsight, I don't know if I would use them that much. I tried to make that little video with the mop, and it definitely takes some practice because your field of depth is, I think, different. But so I don't know that it would be beneficial for me to have them. So
good. I don't have the bomb for you.
No, the way that we ended up doing it to try yours worked out
awesome.
well.
Yes, that's what I was hoping for.
So we didn't have a podcast again last week because I went to Ohio. I was in Ohio for the entire week. This is probably the longest I have been in Ohio, and especially longest I've been in Ohio without you. I left on a Saturday, and didn't come back until Friday. And I
Yeah.
did a lot of things. But we stayed, my two cousins, I went up and mainly saw my two cousins, Amy and Courtney. And we stayed in the same haunted Airbnb that we have stayed in before. And I am happy to report I was still a little like scared, I suppose, but it was more so probably like me freaking myself out rather than like feeling any kind of thing. Amy said she still felt a little like she still has issues with that closet. We gotta have to exercise that closet, but ended up being fine. And then Courtney stayed too, and so I felt just one more person there. You know, it's like they can't bother us. They can't. What are you doing?
I don't know. I feel like my junk's showing all on the camera. So
Your junk is never shut. It's never shut.
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, we've already like
What?
nothing. So anyway, I was gone for a very long time, and that's why we didn't have the podcast. But we did record an episode while I was there, the three of us talking. I haven't released it yet just because when I came back home, I drove the 10 hours or whatever it was, and then got home on Friday night. And then just wanted to sit with my dogs. And honestly, on Saturday and Sunday, I did nothing other than just hang out with my dogs because you still weren't here. I binged a show and I didn't want to do anything. So I will release that. That'll just kind of be a bonus if you want to listen to it. It's just us kind of going through some questions. We did we all wrote down questions and put them in a bowl and picked out questions to answer. And so it made us cry, obviously, but a lot of it just had to do. It was very emotional. That the three of us staying together in this Airbnb. I don't know if it was the Airbnb or if it was just the three of us together, because she lives in town, but she came and stayed with us. And I don't know why it was so emotional. I don't know if it's the coming closer to being 50 for myself and then they're right behind me. I don't know if it's just the energy in the world.
When was the last time you went up there?
Just 6 months ago.
Was it?
Yeah, I went up for
So when did Aunt Teresa pass? It's been more than 6 months.
It's been a year ago. Yeah, it's been over a year
ago.
I
was just wondering, it maybe because of the time you were up there, but I thought in my mind maybe it's because this is the first time, all three of them had been gone, collectively. But okay, all right.
No, it was very emotional. And so, but it was such a good emotion. I felt like we all kind of started working through some things that we needed to kind of work through. Even me, I was probably the least emotional, I'm guessing, but there were still things that were coming up. We went on so my uncle has this convertible. It is I wish they were on here. It was a 1966 Galaxy, I think is what it is, or 63 Galaxy, one of those. Anyway, he's had he's had it repainted. He's had the interior redone and stuff. So it looks fantastic. And so he wanted to come and take the three of us on a convertible ride. So backstory is so it was him and my mom and my aunt. So it was the three of them. They were the three children. Well, my mom and my aunt have both passed away, and so it's just him. That's the only family kind of that I have left as far as that goes. And so it's just kind of emotional. And both of his sisters are gone, his parents are gone, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, he wanted to come take the three of us in a convertible ride. He took us all around Jackson County, and it literally at one point in time, I am telling you, I wish I could explain the sense that I had in my body. It was in my body, I felt Mom sitting right there. It was almost like she was inside me. It was
taking the ride with you.
It was I could just feel how happy she was, and Aunt Teresa was sitting right there with us, and I could just feel the two of them so freaking happy that the three of us were getting to do this convertible ride with Uncle Kenny. I wish I could explain the feeling that I had.
Crazy.
But that made me emotional.
Did you express that to Courtney and Amy?
Of course.
Did they feel anything, do you think?
No, I don't know that. No, I wouldn't say necessarily, but it was an absolute feeling that I had, and it felt so freaking great. So that was really, really nice. So I was able to share with them my human design and kind of the things that I'm learning about that, and the spirituality piece, and
Just keep talking.
How many pictures are you going to take? Seriously.
Well, the first couple you had your eyes closed, so.
Oh, wow.
I have to learn.
So, I got to share some of that with them, and I pulled their charts, their human design charts, and kind of, gave them a little bit of a high overview, what I could. Like, I'm not obviously at a point where I could, do readings and stuff like that, but what I'm learning and what I've learned about your chart and the kids' charts, like, tried to share some of those things with them, and it resonated with them. And I think they wanted to learn more. I think it was really healing for Amy. Amy definitely, had some things that, she's working through, and we had some really good conversations. So it was a much needed trip and a much needed time for the three of us to kind of just go through things and get closer. And it was fantastic. So I'm so glad that I had the time to go up there. I'm so glad that you were like, okay, cool, go do that. And not like, oh my God, like driving me crazy or anything. So I appreciate that so much. But I will tell you.
Do you feel like Amy, so she probably got something out of it. And maybe kind of got into it a little bit. Can you see her doing this on her own?
Doing what?
Like starting to learn the charts and... No,
I think that's my thing. I think I'm the one that's interested in that.
Well,
now,
I know that.
I think if I can share it with, I think they're kind of like you. I think Courtney might be a little bit more interested. Amy, I think, is interested, but is extremely high level, and more so probably like, hey, if there's things that I can learn and share for her. What does that say?
It said live restricted for somebody. Your live contains themes that...
Oh, probably because who knows? Just hit okay. And so I think, as I can learn things about her chart and probably tell her, she'd be happy, to hear about it and be interested in it. But I don't know necessarily.
She'd be doing it by herself.
No, I don't think she'd be doing it by herself. But I'm very interested in it. I want to learn more. The more that I dig deep into different parts about myself and then about the kids, I've looked more into probably Jackson's chart and then like my chart than I have like yours or Lauren's, just mainly because I don't really feel like you're that interested in it, so I'm not spending a whole lot of time on it.
Well, that sucks.
But I really think that is the direction that I'm going, is I may want to start doing readings. There's a class that I want to take, but it's pretty pricey, and so I'm, just kind of thinking through it and putting it out there and, putting it into the universe, informing, because I'm a manifestor, so I have to inform with my voice, blah, blah, blah. And, who knows? We'll see what happens. But I'm also very interested in the spiritual piece of, like, connecting to not just my higher self, but, like, my spirit guides and other, entities. I could see that also in the future, being something. But who knows? I like to do all the things. I'm so curious about all the things. So that's life with me. Mm-hmm. And go ahead and say what you're going to say. You're like trying to bite back.
I love it.
Your laugh there.
I love it. I have grown to love it and grown to respect it and appreciate it.
So, but let me tell you something. So this is what I wanted to tell you.
Oh, geez.
At the beginning. And
let me remind you, I do not do good with surprises.
Well, first of all, let me remind you, this is not something you do fine with surprises. You don't want me to. I'm not trying to bring up like, hey, I don't think we're connected. Like, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Trust.
Good. That was episode 32.
Not in 2025.
That was episode 32. If y'all want to go back. No,
So no, this one I think is actually just a little bit more funny. So I'm driving up that day, and I'm the one that booked. So Amy and I
think she's about to tell me she got a ticket.
No. Courtney and I stay. Okay, so we went up for a wedding. We went up for a cousin's wedding, and so we had to get a place to stay. And so I booked the hotels for me and Courtney to stay. And so it was through Hilton. Well, we have a Hilton Honors. Like we're Hilton Honors members, but like we haven't used that in ages.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, it sent me something, and it's like log into your Hilton Honors app and like connect it, and you can do like a digital check-in and get your digital key or whatever, because I knew I was going to be there like late, like 9:00 at night plus, and I didn't know if Courtney wanted to go ahead and like check in at like 4 or whatever. So I'm trying to do this, and it wouldn't connect. that it like didn't recognize the reservation. So I'm like, oh God, okay. You know how much I hate talking on the phone to places like this.
Or to people, yeah, you know.
I don't mind talking to people if I have to, but I definitely don't like calling places like this and having to deal with this. This is definitely a Kent Kilco thing. But I'm like, okay, I put my big girl panties on. I can do this. And plus, like, it's not like there's not an issue. I'm really just trying to get this connected to my app. It's not a big deal. And so I call whoever answers the phone. He figures it out, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, can you do the survey? I'm like, sure. And so they connect me to this very sweet lady. And you can just tell, like, I couldn't decide if she is, I didn't know if, like, okay, is this a script? Are these the things that she's trying to say to every single person? Or is she literally just trying to connect to me and be relatable? Because she's like, oh, you're traveling and where are you going? Oh, and I live here and I have this many kids. And like, she's just, she is trying to connect. A little bit of it is like, okay, this is a little awkward, but I worked in service, in sales for 21 years or ish. So I understand the drill. And so I'm just going along with her. Well, anyway, it turns out it's not really a survey. It is, they had special promotions going on.
I'm not going into a timeshare in a week. I swear to God. I swear I'm not doing it.
Oh, my God.
You're going to be selling those pots and pans and vacuum cleaners by yourself. I'm not doing it.
First of all, I'm not selling any pot and pans or vacuum. I mean, I did the vacuum cleaner thing.
I'm not going to a hotel in Macon this weekend. It's not going to happen.
We are not going to a hotel in Macon. So, Hilton was having a special promotion that, you could pick. She's like, oh, so she led me right into it. Like
she was the closer. You don't realize that you were getting closed the whole time.
Well,
no,
I knew. I mean, I knew where it was going, but I'm like, I'm driving for 10 hours. Like, what else do I got to do? I'm like, and, like, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know what? This is actually all Kent's fault because for some reason I'm having to do this. He's not here to do it for me. So you know what?
Of course it's my fault.
Serves him right.
Of course it's my fault.
Serves him right. Here we go. Fixing to spend all his money. So she's like, oh, like, do you have like a bucket list of like of all of these places? And she listed like New York and Las Vegas and Charleston and
just get to
all
it.
these other places.
Where did you book us?
She's like, where would you want to go? And I was like,
New York or Charleston.
Listen to me. I'm like, oh, like actually, I'm gonna turn 50. I've never been to New York. I would love New York. I love Charleston too. I've been to Las Vegas. I wouldn't mind going back. Blah blah whatever. And so she's like, oh, okay, so we actually have for this special thing going on, you can do 2 nights in New York. It's at our resort and blah, 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 da-da-da, whatever. And you also get a free cruise, all for just listening to a short presentation on the resort. And I think on the cruise. It was such a good deal.
So you signed us up for this?
I did. It's $450. But we're getting 2 nights in New York.
Do you know where in New York?
In Manhattan.
Do you know what hotel?
At the Hilton. At their
Do
Hilton
you know
resort.
what kind of cruise it is?
Yes, it's not Norwegian. It's Royal Caribbean. It's going to be, I think, to the Bahamas. But it's either a 5-day 4-night or a 4-night 3-night or 4-day 3-night. And I know how much cruises are. I'm like, this is a good deal. Both of these, we just got to get the flights to New York, which I feel like we book it far enough in advance. It won't be a big deal. And she said they can give special pricing to stay if we want to add on nights, because she's like, the price that you're getting these rooms for, really, like, these are really, really good prices. And when you call your booking person to book it, blah, 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 they'll give you a special deal to add additional nights on, whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. Because like 2 nights, I feel like is not enough if you're going over to New York for the first time. So I'm like, you know what? I know how much all of this costs. $450. Yeah, do it. Here's my credit card. She's like, do you want to put it on that American Express, that Hilton American Express? I was like, no, I don't think that one works anymore. I think we've not used that in like 6 years. I think it's Maybe it still works.
So
I
it
don't
was
know.
$450.
Yeah, I spent $450, and we're getting 2 nights in New York so far, and a cruise. So the trip to New York, I think it has to be. Oh, my leg.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Be booked, I think, within.
Can you do the New York trip or the cruise? Like, can I just say,
get both? No, you have
what
to go
if
to
I
both.
don't want to do both? What if I don't want to go on a cruise?
You have to.
We're going on a cruise in freaking 2 months.
Right, and you're going to want to go. You're going to want to go on another one.
What is that airline that people make fun of? It starts with an S. That's the real
Spirit.
Spirit.
We got Spirit.
You sure we ain't going on a Spirit cruise?
No,
a Spirit cruise.
It's Royal Caribbean. It's because I ask all these questions.
It's not. You sure it's not Royale Caribbean?
No,
like there's some knockoff Royal Caribbean.
It's not Royale Caribbean. I ask all the questions. I'm like, so tell me about this cruise. Like, who is it through? You guys don't do cruises. And she's like, we have a special thing with Royal, but it'll be the same thing as like the timeshare thing. You'll have a short presentation. Blah blah blah.
Did she say how short the presentation was?
No, but here's
2 hours.
Here's the great thing. I suck at saying no, but you don't. So it'll be easy. Like you'll go in there and you're gonna have this horribly mad face on.
We call it stoic.
No, I call it resting bitch face for women. I don't know what you call it for men, but you're gonna be like, no. I'm
honestly not like that.
And then we're gonna get to the end. You're gonna be like, this is actually a really good deal.
No shit. That's what I'm worried about.
No, we're not.
When do we have to have this trip by?
I think we have to book the New York and take it. I want to say within the next year, but we've got to book the cruise within next year, and then we have 3 years to take it.
Okay, so my main concern will be the New York trip because you do want to go.
Right, exactly. That's why I'm doing it. I'm like, this is going to force us to go ahead and do this.
Right, but so we'll look at this location. We'll look at the resort, hotel, whatever it is. Because you say it's Hilton, but Hilton has like 70 different brands. They've got the top end and they got the...
She said it was really nice. She said it's a resort.
Of course she said it was really nice. That's her damn job, is to sell people like you.
No.
Hook, line, and sinker.
It was Memorial Day weekend. Like I still have...
What does that have to do with anything?
It means it's going to be good.
But what does Memorial Day weekend have to do with anything?
It doesn't matter. She said it's in Manhattan. What we're paying is basically less than what the nights are going to be. So they're like a $250 a night hotel. It's not like it's a chintzy hotel.
News to you. A $250 a night hotel in New York City is a piece of shit hotel.
Okay.
Just an FYI.
Okay, well, whatever. You weren't there.
Golly.
I knew you would enjoy that.
If it was just in New York City, I could probably live with it. But the cruise is what's throwing me.
Why? I'm so confused by that.
I don't know that I really like cruises that much, but we'll see. I'm sure it'll be fun.
You'll suck it up for a little 3-day weekend cruise. Hop on the boat, go have some fun, come back. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So we'll look at the New York.
So you could say thank you,
We'll
Annie.
plan a trip. No. I'm not saying thank you for this.
You could say thank you.
No. I'm not going to say thank you for this. But anyhow. Well,
so
thank you for telling me that now. On our podcast.
I've been sitting on this for a solid more than a week now at this point. Because I did that on Friday coming up here before Memorial Day. It has been eating me alive. I have that little notification in my text messages that said 1 unread text message because I don't want to lose that in my thread of all the text threads. Because that's like the information that I need to go back to. And I, of course I have an email or whatever too, but I'm like, oh, I can't wait to tell him about this. I have been holding on to this little morsel, this little nugget.
I can't wait to see how short this presentation is.
I think it'll be great. Yeah. I think you'll.
Surely they're going to be trying to sell us on like a timeshare or something.
No, absolutely they're going to be selling. I think we're probably staying in like where their timeshare location is. That's what makes sense. Yeah. But I did this for... When I took Jackson and my mom to Disney... This is not making
me feel any better. But trust me, saying what you did in 20 years ago is not going to make me feel any better.
Well, I guess it almost was 20 years ago. But I did this to get free Disney tickets when I took Jackson and Mom. And I had to go sit through the presentation.
How long was it?
I had to be strong. I mean, and I'm talking, they started at like, it's $1,500 a month. I'm like, I'm a freaking single mom. Are you crazy? I'm here to get free tickets. What makes you think I'm going to be able to afford this? Oh, okay. Well, hold on.
By the time it was over, $29.99 a month.
It was like $200. I'm like, fuck. Maybe I could do this. And I'm like, no, I can't. Just please give me my tickets. You were cutting into my Disney time.
How long was the presentation?
I need to go. I don't remember.
3 hours. There's no way they can keep people for 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't think it
You
was
would
probably
lose
that
them.
long.
Okay.
Yeah. You could tell they were pissed, though. They were pissed that this chick, like, actually came in here and did not do anything and got her Disney tickets and left. But I was like,
I mean,
see ya.
that's what that's
what
the
they're
risk they run.
doing.
Yes,
Right,
the cost of doing
right.
business. Okay, great.
So anyway, yeah, in New York and a cruise, Annie. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome job,
Party.
babe. Awesome job.
I'm sure there are lots of people in here that would, volunteer to go on this cruise with me instead. And maybe that's a possibility. Maybe you just have to go to the timeshare and then I can take the cruise with somebody else. I don't know.
How did you know what that said? Somebody said New York and a cruise?
Because I have it pulled up right here on my computer as well.
Well, Haley, why didn't you tell me that? I'm sitting there looking like a moron trying to read this stuff.
Why would I tell you then?
Who's Annie anyways? Are you typing that in there?
No, that's
I'm so
Devon's
confused.
Annie.
Oh, okay. I'm so confused. All right, so anyhow, we'll make it happen. New York City, like you said, it just forces us to take this
It forces us to go.
That's pretty smart of you. I'll give you credit.
I know, I thought so.
I'm still wondering how you paid for it, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that offline.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about all the details.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. So, anyway, you got anything else to talk about? I don't think I had anything else to talk about. Was I gonna tell?
I hate when you do this.
Was I gonna tell you?
I told you earlier we gotta have some topics.
Babe, you know what? You're fixing to take me there, and I don't think it's a good idea right now.
God, this is what I try to prevent. Go ahead.
So, are you able to get my inhaler? I'm feeling very
I would too after bringing that shit up, holding it in for a week.
Starting to feel like I'm closing up a little bit. I've not had my allergy medicine in 2 days. It's right there on my desk. Are you able to get it without unconnecting everything? So. Oh, okay. So the other thing that I did, and here's the crazy thing. You know what sucks to happen when you're on like vacation or away from home? The worst thing that can happen is getting sick. And I had a complete sick day. It was horrible. We rotted on the couch because I could not leave the location. I was so sick. And there's nothing worse than being sick when you are not at home. It sucked. Babe?
What?
Get off your fucking phone.
I have to add something to my story.
You do not have to add anything to your story while we're in the middle of the freaking
That's
podcast.
why you're supposed to do it.
No, you're not.
Okay. All right. I'm talent, and you're going to try to tell me how to be talent.
Well, you're not being talent very well.
I'm listening to your story. You were sick. Go ahead. Okay.
I might as well do the podcast by myself from now
No,
on because
that's a
I'm
lie.
literally speaking to myself.
I'm listening to you. Go ahead.
That's not the point. I don't want
down.
you to just listen. I would like for you to actually participate
I
as
am
well.
participating when it comes to my turn. Go ahead.
Okay, so not only did we have the wedding and we had cousin time and we, hey baby girl, I got sick. I saw Aaron, obviously, my brother, Aaron, and my niece, oh, are you going to talk, Blakely? My niece, Allie, and Aaron, this is so unlike Aaron thing to do. He was like, you want to go to Kings Island with me this week? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I mean, I got...
Kings Island is a theme park.
So Kings Island is like a Six Flags for here. And so I bet I hadn't been to Kings Island since... It had to have been before I graduated high school. I'm guessing like, I don't know, 17-ish probably, maybe 18th the latest. So, I mean, we're talking 30 years, which is crazy for me to say. Like, where has time gone, first of all? Like 30 years, I understand I'm 49, I almost said 48. But like saying 30 years, I'm just like, what the fuck? How is that possible? Mm-mm. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's go. And so we pack up and we leave the next day or whatever. And we go to Kings Island. And I'm just like, I cannot, like, this is so unlike him to do. And, typically I will plan stuff too. So I went to Kings Island. I had not been there in 30 years. It was so crazy. I was like, I'm excited to do this. I wanted to ride the Beast. First of all, the Beast is a wooden roller coaster. Sorry, this champagne is
It's not champagne.
Whatever, it's making me a burp. So it's a wooden roller coaster. So I would equate it to the
Scream Machine?
Yeah, the Scream Machine.
The Great American Scream Machine.
Okay. And so the Beast was built and it started being used. What's the word? It
Started being used.
anyway.
Opened.
What year was I born? 75. It started, I think it was 1979. That 1979 is when this roller coaster.
So like 45 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. It is insane. This first of all, it's old as hell, and it is massive as far as it spans 34 acres. It goes all back into essentially a wooded area. It's all grown up with trees and everything. There's no like lights and anything back in the very back of it. At one time, I think it might have been like a pretty tall roller coaster. Now, not so much. But what it does have is the fact that it's a wooden roller coaster that still exists today. And two, it has what they call a double helix. And so what that is basically, as you go, you have a hill that you go up. And as you're coming down, it's like coming down and curving to the left. And as it's curving to the left, it goes into a wooden tunnel. But it's not like a tunnel underground. It's like a tunnel up. It's like a bridge, like a covered bridge almost. But it's completely dark. So it goes through that, and then it comes back around and kind of goes up and then goes back down through it again. Okay? So it's like zoom, zoom like that, like a corkscrew.
Like a double helix.
Anyway, this thing, so it says, it was either 45 or 65 miles per hour. I want to say coming down that into the double helix, it's going like 45 miles per hour. And you think 45 miles per hour, not that big of a deal. But when you are on a wooden roller coaster, that thing is moving. And it's one of those where if you're sitting on the inside as you go into that, because you're coming down at an angle and like kind of turn to the left, it feels like you're going to hit your head. So like the person on the inside is like ducking and they're doing like this. And you're like, doing this the whole time because it's just old.
It's
now,
a wooden roller
it's a wooden
coaster,
roller coaster. Now, I will say, it's not quite as jerky, I think, as it once was. And I feel probably because my hips are bigger than they used to be.
You're squeezing there a little bit tighter.
I'm squishing there a little bit tighter than I used to be. But so we went on the Beast, of course. I was excited about that. And then I was excited about the racers. So the racers, they have a red and blue racers. And what was always fun about the racers growing up, they're huge. Like it's a sprawled out thing. And it really is a race. They take off at the same time. And you're like, okay, who's going to win, the red or the blue? Because they have two separate operators. So it's like, okay, who pressed their button just a half a second before the other one? Like they both go pretty damn close.
Is it a roller coaster too?
Yeah, yeah. But they both have different operators. So like human nature, one is pressing it before the other. And you're going up the hill side by side, like you're right beside each other. And you go down the hill side by side. And then you kind of take off and round and go and then end up coming back. So anyway, but you can tell who's actually winning the race. Well, the blue racer, back in my day, it was the backwards roller coaster. So the red went frontwards and the blue went backwards, which is so fun, like to ride the entire roller coaster backwards. I was so looking forward to that. And that's another one that even if you didn't hold your hands up back in the day, you came up out of your seat. Like it was, taking your stomach and everything. Well, guess what? Mama did not come up out of her seat like she used to again. I was
Who were you riding with most of the time? Allie?
With Aaron. No, I rode with Aaron most of the time. Okay. Allie took a friend, and so Aaron.
Well, Aaron's a little.
Yeah, we were stuck in there. And so what was also disappointing is they freaking reversed the blue. The blue doesn't go backwards anymore. It's not a fucking reverse roller coaster.
Did you get that feedback to them?
I did. I was so upset, but.
What did that 18-year-old kid say when you were
didn't care.
40 years ago I used to.
So that was disappointing, but but they have another one. I can't remember. I think it's called Orion or I don't know, something like that. And so
Orion.
Yeah. I think it was actually called Orion. And so I think that's the one that Aaron told me is actually a giga coaster. So they rate these coasters based on a couple of different things. And one of the things that they rate them on is the height of, I think, that hill, that drop. And so this was a giga coaster, which I believe he said meant that it went 300 feet in the air. The drop is 300 feet. And it was a straight down 300 feet drop. And it's crazy because all you have is that lap thing that comes over. It's like you pull it and I'm like, oh God, like I'm sucking in. I'm doing everything I can to get that one more click just to make sure I'm super duper tight in there. Nope, not happening. And so there's a little bit of wiggle room. And when you go down, and I would have felt,
you felt, yeah.
I would have loved like a shoulder, harness. That would have been
away
great.
From it, but yeah.
But when you got one click of room in there and you have no shoulder thing, I screamed so loud and it was such a high fall. By the time I got to the end, I thought I was going to black out. I started to see stars. I literally...
Because you screamed the whole time.
Yes, yeah. I thought I was fixing to black out. And I was like... So after I read it the first time, I was like, oh, I was literally scared to go on the second time. And when I went to the second time, by the time I got to the end, I was like, okay, that wasn't quite as bad. And then the third time we rode it, maybe okay, so we bought a fast pass too. I didn't tell you that. We decided like we wanted to make the most of the day, and so we ended up buying a fast pass. So we literally walked on every single ride. I bet we rode this roller coaster probably 4 times, and my goal was by the end of the day, we were staying until fireworks anyway, which were 10 o'clock at night, and we got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm like, we're going to ride every roller coaster by the time it gets dark until the park closes. We're riding every single roller coaster in the dark. And so the tricky part was it didn't really get super dark until like 9:30. So then that was tough. But anyway, the last time we rode that one, I got stuck. The first 2 times I was in the mid, you have 4 seats all together. So all 4 of us could ride side by side. But, you got 2 outside people. Well, I always got stuck on the inside. When I get stuck, I purposely did the inside. Well, the last time I got stuck on the outside. You talk about going up that hill on the outside. You do not look down.
No, heck no.
Do not look down. So that was super cool. But Aaron's bucket list was he wanted to ride the Beast at nighttime. And so we're like 9:40 walking up. We go to the Beast and we walk in and there's a little bit of a line in the fast pass. We're like, oh, this is not good. This is not making sense. And apparently right when we walked up or right beforehand, something happened and there was a situation. It was shut down. It wasn't running right that second. And we're like, okay, so what do we do? Like, do we stay? Do we wait? Like, do we just wait until the park closes? And if by the time the park closes, if it's not going, we'll just leave, because we had a 2-hour ride home still. And I was going home. I was driving 10 plus hours the next day to come back home. And Aaron had to go to work at super early in the morning too. And we're like, okay, we're just playing it by ear. And we wait and we wait and we wait, and the fireworks start going off at 10 o'clock, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we're missing the fire. We're not seeing the fireworks. No big deal. We've seen fireworks. Even though apparently they use drones now in fireworks and do some really cool shit.
Yeah.
I don't really understand how the drones work with fireworks, but that's topic for another day. Anyway, what?
I'll explain it to you next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we wait and we're still not happening. Park closes at 10. Finally at like 10:30, they're finally like, okay, we're, it's back up. And if you were in line, we're gonna stay until every single person in line gets to ride this roller coaster. And I feel so bad for those workers because
they're used to it, I'm sure.
I'm telling you, that line was long. Not our line, but the other line was long. And so as soon as it opened back up, we pretty much got on like the second car. Kent, when I tell you, that was not the fastest or biggest roller coaster I have ever ridden, but I was the absolute most terrified riding that one. That one in the dark, no lights whatsoever. When you went into that double helix, it was the longest. It probably was like 4 seconds, but it felt like 30 minutes. It was terrifying because it's always dark, but I'm talking, you cannot see your hand in front of your face, dark, and it was loud, like just deafeningly loud. And we were in the third seat. So we were in the second car. And I was like, oh great, we're in the front too. Wonderful. And that roller coaster is a 4-minute roller coaster.
That's long for a roller coaster.
It's a long-ass roller coaster. Yeah. But part of it is going up that first hill. It probably takes you a good minute to get up that first hill. It is literally
That's the part that always bothers me the most.
And it's not like, a lot of these are like They just move. This one is literally a click, 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 and you hear it click, 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 and you get to the top and it's like, don't stand up. I'm like, who did you have to tell not to stand up? At what point did somebody decide?
That actually comes over
Let
the
me
speaker?
actually. No, there's a sign. Do not stand up. Like, who stood up?
Listen, somebody that wanted to be on TikTok.
So I wanted to look and say, okay, so how many people have died on this roller coaster? But I did not, because I was afraid at that point. Anyway, it was super cool. It was really neat to do that, to ride that be our last ride. It was pitch black dark at that point. And, Aaron really enjoyed it. It was really cool to go, because Aaron and I, like, we're 5 years apart. So even growing up, we weren't really close. It was almost like two separate, generations almost. And, we couldn't be more different as far as what we like to do. Like, I was always into sports. He was never interested in sports, but he got drugged to all my games or whatever. And when I was 21, so he was, 17? Is that correct math?
4 years.
Anyway, something like that.
16, 17.
Yeah. I moved to Georgia, and so he was still in Ohio. And I've been in Georgia ever since. And so we're just not super close. So it was really nice to have that time and spend with him, to spend it, with my niece that she's just turned 16.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's the longest I've ever been around her, was that 12 hours in that day.
We would have been married when she was born.
We were.
And that's hard for me. Like, I can't, when I think back, like, I think about Katie being, like, pregnant. Like, I can't even
We were
that.
just married, because
Yeah.
we were going to be, 17? So just
That's
over
crazy.
a year.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was super special on so many levels, of not being there in 30 years, being able to go experience it again, being able to see all the things, and then, being able to remember this was there and I remember doing that, and, hanging out with Aaron, and, so it just was, it was the best trip to Ohio that I probably can think that I have had, maybe ever.
Wow.
Maybe ever going back there. Probably one of the best trips. Because at the wedding too, like, I got to see everybody, like JJ and Lauren and Wade and Ashley,
Kevin, you can't leave anybody out.
I got to see, Avery and Kate, and, dance with them. I got to see Sarah. I got to see Corey get married. Saw Austin. So, like, it was really, really, I didn't get to see, Liam and Oliver, JJ's kids. I didn't get to see Candace, but, and I didn't get to see my other two, brothers, but I did see Mike as well. So Mike for a hot second. Yeah. So it was just a really, really good trip. It was a really good trip. It was one of those trips that almost made me sad, because I'm like, fuck, like, I'm almost seeing every single person of my mom's family, like, this is not an omen, right? This is just normal. This is normal behavior. This is what normally should happen. This doesn't mean something like, I'm not fixing to die, am I? Like, this is not like an omen, a precursor.
No, it was a freaking wedding. This is like normal, a family member's wedding.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And my mind went there for half a second. I was like,
of course it did.
I'm turning, am I okay? Am I okay?
Jeez.
But anyway, it was really good. It was really, really good. So.
Check your pulse. Are you still breathing?
Yeah.
I apparently.
Well, I'm glad you made it back. I'm glad you had a good trip. I have always been, I don't know if envious is the right word, but I have always appreciated the relationship that you and Courtney and Amy have. And I feel like that the older that Aaron has gotten, the more vocal and outgoing he's gotten. Mm-hmm. And so I feel that kind of helps you guys bond a little bit more than if he was maybe more reserved and that kind of thing. So, good. I'm glad you had a great time.
Yeah, it was really
It's crazy to think about Allie being 16 years old.
It's insane to think. And it's insane to think about her. And so I made her and her friend ride the antique cars. Like these, God, I keep saying 30 years. I haven't been there in 30 years. And this shit was there like, I don't know how many years before me. I mean, hell, the Beast was 1979. So who knows how long these antique cars have been here. But those antique cars, they're the ones that are on that like one track. And so basically it's like, like, you know, this back and forth. You can't really go anywhere, but you have a little bit of leeway not to hit that metal rod in the middle. And so, you know, Allie is a little bit behind as far as like, she's not really, she's, first of all, she's very petite, she's very tiny, but she didn't have like a golf cart or like go-kart. Like we grew up with go-karts. So like,
You kind of learned.
I learned, yeah. I felt like
yeah.
I kind of felt like I knew how to drive, sort of. She didn't have any of that, and so she's a little bit hesitant about driving. And I'm like, "You're fixing to go drive these antique cars." She's like, "Why?" I said, "Because you need to learn how to drive." And so, you know, I made her go on those, and her little friend too, Grace. She was very super sweet. So it was just,
You know, it's
kind
crazy.
of a rite of passage.
When it's crazy to think too, because there was
Driving
somebody
down the holler, absolutely.
There was somebody else the other day who was posting their kids, you know, I can't remember if it was their learner's permit or their license or whatever, and they were like, they don't have any desire to drive, but we made them get their license anyways. And I'm just like, we kind of talked about that when both of our kids were coming up, and that, like, there just wasn't this huge desire to get out there and drive, I didn't feel. And I feel like when we were growing up, that's like you just wanted to go. Yeah, you were just wanting to go wherever you could go, and it's just, I don't know. It's just,
I can't remember. I feel like Jackson wanted to drive.
I don't feel like he was that much into it. He wasn't
He was
driving.
terrifying me.
He wasn't driving all over the place. I mean, it was like he had to drive to practice or drive home from you know whatever. But they weren't going and cruising through parking lots like we used to, or they weren't going and, to the park and hanging out. I mean,
like, what was the problem with that? We had a city block that you went to cruise in high school. That's what you did. What are you doing? I'm going uptown. We're going cruising. We went in a city block square, left-hand turns. That's all you did. Or you went the other way and you did like right-hand turns. We weren't hurting anybody. All the businesses were shut down. Like, what was the problem? But they were so bothered by us cruising. I'm like, we could be out doing all kinds of other stupid shit.
Yeah, but they probably just assumed that was going to turn into bad. I mean, people are going to be drinking, smoking, and, doing whatever.
That's what you ended up forcing them to go do. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Anywho, so then I came home. I drove home. Oh. And so on the way up there, I didn't go up 75, which is what I normally would do. I was staying in West Virginia, and the wedding venue was in Ohio, just right across the river. And I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I went back and forth from West Virginia to Ohio between Saturday and Sunday. It was crazy. And as I'm driving, so I'm going up. So first of all, I'm hitting all kinds of states. Like I went through South Georgia and then South Carolina and then North Carolina, and that turns into Virginia. So and I'm geographically challenged. But eventually I get to West Virginia. And so when I get to West Virginia, I know I'm like, okay, I'm getting close. I'm getting, I'm within a 2-hour range of where I'm going to be. And so I decide, okay, I'm starting to get a little bit like emotional, like, I'm reminiscing. And so I decide to turn on John Denver because I want to hear Country Roads.
You should play this as we end this podcast tonight.
I should. Yeah. I might have to. I don't have the right to it, so I probably can't. But I'm like literally listening to John Denver. And I'm like just crying, driving
by yourself.
By myself. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on in my head right now?
And you're probably all over the road, and then the cops pull you over.
No. I took my own car, so I didn't have nobody pulled me over this time. I didn't have any issues with
that Jeep is a beast to drive.
Feeling like I was drunk or anything. But it was much easier to drive up. Like it probably took longer, but man, the fact that you didn't have to deal with, and now the tolls were different. The tolls threw me off seriously because I'm like, we might get a bill in the mail.
Speaking
that's
of,
actually ridiculous.
We're probably going to get a bill from Florida, and I don't think we have yet.
I really don't know how it all works.
I don't either.
No. So
we need to look into that.
So okay, on the way up there.
Hold on. If anyone knows, if you're from Georgia and you drive through Florida and you go through a toll, and I guess they're snapping
We do not have time for math problems right now.
Well, no, it's not a math
Especially
problem.
word math problems.
I'm asking if anyone's on here. Should we be checking text messages, emails, or will they mail us a bill? I don't know the answer to that.
I don't know either.
I'm not trying to have my registration suspended because we didn't pay $8 in tolls. So
okay. Anyway, so on the way up there, the toll roads, like first of all, it's very confusing, and it's like go here, but then I'm like seeing. Like it's saying my ways is saying go here for tolls, but then the rest of the the roads, they're all going the same way. So I'm like, what? Traffic is not stopped. Why would I need to go on this toll? And this road's going the exact same way. I was like, it was a mind fuck. I didn't understand. So anyway, finally, I'm just like, okay, well, I'm just going to follow directions and go through the tolls and just pay the tolls. Well, you could... I had cash, thankfully. So the first toll, I'm like, whatever, I gave them... No, it was the second toll. Are you listening?
I'm reading the comments.
I've got the comments right here. I don't
Babe,
need you to
why do you
read
think I need to
them.
look at you and eye to listen to you? First of all, you're talking to the audience.
I'm not.
Second of
I'm
all,
talking to you.
I don't have to stare at you
You do.
but I don't. I'm trying to make sure that there's not somebody asking a question or making a comment that's relevant.
Anyway, so I go through the first toll, and I give her $3.50, and she's like, okay, thanks. And I keep going. Well, as I keep going, I realize the toll thing said it's $4.50. So here I have just shorted the toll lady. Okay, you got an eyebrow here that needs plucked.
Did she realize that?
Well, I'm assuming she realized it. So I'm like, oh
Cops
my God, what do I do? Like, what am I going to do? And so I get to the next toll, and this really nice guy, I said, listen.
He said, we've been waiting on you, ma'am. Hey, Kia.
I was like, listen, I only gave her $3.50 of the last toll booth. So here's an extra dollar. He's like, no, don't worry about it. They'll just write it off. And I was like, okay, well, damn, that needs to be what I just do from here on out. But I was like, are you sure it's going to be okay? He's like, yeah, I promise it's fine. I'm like, okay, geesh. I'm like, these tolls are really
Are they actually
screwing me
taking
up.
cash, you mean?
Yes, I
Of
dug
course.
out cash and quarters. I have like zero
course.
$1 bills
And this is in
quarters.
West Virginia.
West
Makes
Virginia.
sense. Makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about spirituality while we were there. So when we were staying in West Virginia, I can't remember, was it Parkersburg? Parkersburg. So we stayed at this hotel in Parkersburg, and then we would go back across the river in Ohio and go to the wedding. Anyway, in Parkersburg, God, I cannot say that. There were street signs. So there was what was it? Was it Julia? There was something Julia or Julianne or something. Anyway, our grandmother is a Lily Julia. And then there was Courtney, you're going to have to help me because I really don't remember the names of these street lines. I think there was an Avery, and then there was a Garfield. So Garfield Hollow is where my grandmother lived. That's the holler that Amy lived on. We talked about the holler. It was Garfield Holler. So all these street signs are like coming up with names of our family. And I'm like, Courtney and I both are like, okay.
Are y'all rich?
This is freaky. No, it's just like there's
yeah.
synchronicities. Like it's really cool. And then we just had, I don't know, there was a lot of things. So it was, there was an Ann. There was an Ann with an E, which I'm an Ann with an E. So it was just kind of cool that like we had all these street signs that were like family names for us. And that's where we were. It's just, I don't know, it was just kind of neat. So, which, I believe in all of that.
So we're running up on an hour, and live kicks you off in an hour. So I actually went on a fishing trip with some buddies that I grew up with, and we've stayed in touch our entire. I guess we'll talk about that next episode.
No, go ahead.
No, there's no, because that's probably going to take more than a few minutes. I want to be the focus of the next episode.
Okay, Mister. I didn't know what we were going to talk about.
I'll talk about the fishing trip. I got a few stories to tell.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll talk about that next time.
We will.
So I'll release the bonus episode. It's just me and Amy and Courtney kind of answering some questions. I hope you enjoy it. The audio is not great. I'm going to be honest because I took my mics. There's some echoes, whatever. And then I'm so sorry. This is making me burp.
This is unprofessional.
It's bad. I know.
Talent would never do that.
It's so bad. And then I have promised Lauren, she has been asking to be on the podcast. And so I'm going to do an episode with her and I will release that as well. So we'll have a couple extra episodes.
I'm going to be enthralled.
Did you talk about on the podcast about the time whenever I called you on the walk with the music playing?
No, we'll talk about that.
So we can talk about that.
We'll put it on the board.
Did we talk about that?
I don't know what you're talking. Oh, the music starting by itself. The video. Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll talk about that next time.
No, I don't think so. So write that down and we'll write it on the board. Anyway. Okay. Well,
you know that girl can't reach that marker.
I'm glad. Oh wow. I'm glad to be back home. I'm
glad to have you back home. I'm glad to be home. I'm super pumped that you had a great time on your trip. I had a great time on my trip, but there's nothing like being home, your own shower, your own bed, your own wife, and everything else. So
Your own wife, definitely your own wife.
that
I'm
didn't
really,
come out right. That didn't
really glad that's how you phrased that.
That didn't come out right.
Wow.
That didn't come out right. I'm sorry.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But, all right.
All right. Well, I love you guys too. I love you too. Bye. Oh, I know. I'm not supposed to be doing that.